Step back in time to see history through the lens of a camera with 2,000 cameras on display at the Photo Antiquities Museum of Photographic History. Historic photographs of the Civil War, Native Americans, the World Wars, lantern slides, spirit photographs, stereo views, and more are available at the Photo Antiquities Museum of Photographic History. The Photo Antiquities Museum also has a special collection of rare photos of Pittsburgh's shantytown, a makeshift poor Pittsburgh neighborhood built during the Great Depression. Throughout it all, I noticed in every picture, no one seemed to be smiling. So I asked museum founder Bruce Klein why.
Yes, so nobody smiles because the exposure time was 30 minutes. And that's why everybody looks real stiff, because you can't hold a smile for 30 minutes. In addition to that, they usually had neck braces behind their head to keep their head in place, because again, 30 minutes, you would move your head side to side, your photo would be blurry.
Can Bruce smile for 30 minutes?
No, I don't think I could do that for more than 4 or 5 minutes, I'm sure.
Explore the nation's only 19th century photography museum, including everything from the first photograph in 1821 all the way to digital, right on Pittsburgh's north side at the Photo Antiquities Museum of Photographic History. Learn more at photoantiquities.org.
I'm RJ Kozane, you know this, with Art Talk. And we're filming the intro right now for, I always say the artist name, but say your name for the kids out there.
Christiana Dolores.
Madam Dolores. She does everything. She takes selfies.
Swim very well.
She doesn't swim very well, and neither of us can roller skate, so don't ask. She's been so vital to the scene. She's an artist relations manager in the area. She does music. It's such beautiful down-tempo trip hop, in-your-face, raw, political, selfie-making music, and politics are in this. Peduto, there's a shout out for you at the end, so pay attention.
Pay attention.
And right after the break, we're just sit down for this one. It's raw. It's everything and more. Right after this.
PGH Museums is made possible through our affiliates such as the Punxsutawney Weather Discovery Center. The Punxsutawney Weather Discovery Center is an interactive science center devoted to weather and weather folklore, located in a century-old former post office in a town who's known for its weather-predicting groundhog. The Punxsutawney Weather Discovery Center lets you become a tornado, make a thunderstorm, or even be a TV weather forecaster. We met up with the center's executive director, Marlene Lealock, to see if she's ever been caught playing with the green screen.
Yes, don't tell my board, but yes, we play with the green screen all the time. It's fun. It's if you've never been in front of one of them, you can pretend that you're doing the weather. You can also take one of the green capes that we have and make your body disappear. So, there's all kinds of fun things that you can do with it.
Has she ever forged a weather forecast and predicted a catastrophe?
I can't say that I've done that, but that gives me some food for thought.
You can create your own weather apocalypse forecast and learn everything the center has to offer at the Punxsutawney Weather Discovery Center. Discover more at weatherdiscovery.org.
We just had a ghost in your house. Hello. I am
Just shut off the recording.
Yeah, the recording just shut off, so weird things are already happening today. I am RJ Kozane with PGH Museums, and we do an artist interview series called Art Talk. We're in your home. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Homes. Yes.
Yeah, great to meet you.
Yes, great to meet you too. And they don't know you. I hope that you know her because she's been in the game for so long. But if they don't, tell them who you are.
Well, I'm Christiana Dolores, and at this point in my career, I go by Madam Dolores to claim my elder status, and also to claim and accept the meaning of Dolores, which is Spanish for pain. So I thought I should just embrace it. There's been a lot of pain in my life.
I didn't know that.
And I'm sure a lot of pain in your life as well.
All of us.
We get through it, don't we? We get through it.
We do. We're going to dig at it today, I'm sure. And we went through a list while we were filming before of what you do, and you do so much that I don't want to go through the list again, but we're going to because you do everything. So I'm going to pick it up.
I don't roller
Almost. No, I can't. I fall when I roller skate.
fall my
No,
ass
don't ask us to roller skate at all.
Or swim. Not good.
You can
Not
ask
good.
me to swim when you come over. But you do artist relations. You're a manager at the Greater Pittsburgh Arts Council. Musician, playwright, curator, and producer, multimedia artist. Do so many things, so many exhibitions over the years. Accomplishments: Pittsburgh Business Times Woman First Award in 2017. 2010 honoree of the August Wilson Center Fellowship, honoree in 2017 with the New Hazlitt Theater, and the list goes on and on and on. And we started with, how do you do all of the things that you do, because you do so many?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yes.
So I was saying that I find the things related, connected, and interchangeable. So it's not so much shifting gears to move into a new discipline. It's kind of the same voice throughout all of the disciplines, but just using a different tool to speak. Also, coordinating and imagining, envisioning. It's not so much about inspiration as it is about grabbing a hold of the concept when it grabs a hold of you. They're like voices in your head, and so when one wants to speak, you have to listen.
Yes, always. Or it goes away.
Or it goes
doesn't
away,
come
it
back and you're
disappears.
frustrated, yes.
Sometimes I'll toy with it and just go, well, we'll see if that's a meaningful idea. I'm not
Right,
writing
me
it down.
too. That is exactly
Right?
what I do.
And
I'm
then
like,
I remember
no.
it, I'm like, oh, I guess you're meaningful.
Yeah.
And so
Weed out the crap.
yeah, and I keep my brain's over there, so there's like 25 journals full of ideas.
Mine are all under the bed, and sometimes I feel like my life is living below me, and that's kind of scary to think
Yeah?
about.
Oh my
So I need to invest in one of those.
I know, I just filled it up. I was like, oh my God, so many journals, so many thoughts. What are you thinking about?
Everything.
Everything coming at you, constantly in a sense of processing. And I think the root of my poor dog. He's in his straitjacket. Sorry, people. You're gonna hear him whining. He's not.
He's sweet.
He's not in pain. He just can't be in here.
He just wants love, and I'm gonna give it to him the
That's why
second
his
this
name's
camera's
Romeo,
off.
but sometimes it's too much love.
Man, no such thing for dogs.
Too much love.
If you hear him whimpering in the back, don't worry. The camera's going to go off and I'm swooping right over there. There's pictures of, like, more pictures of my dog on social media than there is of me.
Oh my God.
Love it.
Oh my God. Where was I?
We were talking about concepts, and I like that you describe your ideas as concepts instead of inspiration. That's not a perspective that I've heard before. And it kind of felt like, I say a lot of the times when we do these that I feel my brain shift. Like I've just learned something like mind-blowing, and just thinking about like even ideas in a way that is different. Sorry, Romeo, is so just like fascinating to me.
Yeah, I think, thank you. I think for me, and this is part of what I do as artist relations manager, is just kind of rethink, reimagine, and innovate new ways of thinking about things. Like we inherit certain narratives that I don't think are true to the craft or the process. Inspiration. People are like, I'm waiting for inspiration. There's nothing to wait for. You have ideas constantly flowing. You just have to grab a hold of the idea. I don't know when inspiration's supposed to be. Honestly, I've never understood that. I've gone to lots of colleges. I'm like, I don't understand this thing they're talking about, inspiration.
Right, it's the most elusive word in the creative field, inspiration.
Yeah, I think it's, to me, sometimes I think it puts people in a state of anxiety, doubt about their own craft. And I think it also creates this kind of, I don't want to say class, but this hierarchy. Mm-hmm. Like only those with inspiration can move forward. I don't believe that.
Yes.
Everybody has an idea and everybody's creative. Not everybody's an artist, but everybody is creative, and that's part of the beauty of humans, right? We have this magnificent computer and we can think things through. So I challenge the concept of inspiration.
I love it. I love it so much.
I don't agree with it.
Yes, and who better to be an artist relations manager than someone who is challenging that very thought?
Yeah, I mean, I challenge that. I challenge what you learn, not directly, but indirectly, is that you have to suffer for your art. And the best art comes from the best suffering. I think the best art comes from the best thinking, and the best feeling.
Yes.
I don't know if it's about suffering. I mean, everybody suffers. So it's not suddenly artists are special sufferers.
Right.
We're
Yes.
not like, you know,
We're
like,
all
we
a part of this human
we have
condition.
The crown of suffering. I suffer more than you, and I'm going to make art for no. I'm a Buddhist, so everyone is suffering on some level.
Yeah.
So it's just everyone is finding a way to deal with it. We happen to use art.
Romeo's finding a way to do it.
Yes, poor baby. I'm gonna have to bring him in here. Some people are athletes. That's how they deal with their suffering. Some people write or read. I mean, everyone has a different way that they carry their cross. So to act as if artists have this special cross that gives them this incredible talent to I don't believe that either.
We
I
just
don't believe
completely
that either.
broke that down. If anything needs to go viral out of these podcasts, it's that entire section there. Artists, listen up, because that was
Free yourself.
advice. Yes.
This is what I do with my job. I help to
I love it. Tell us what you do.
As an artist relations manager, one of my secrets to the job is I'm a deep empath. So I really, really listen to people. And it's not that I give people something. I unlock the thing that they hide from themselves, and I also help them move the things out of their way. Okay. We're very good at we already have barriers to our creative process, so why add more? You know, yes. So a lot of it is can be psychological. It's just like getting stuff out of your way, getting your own doubt out of your way, getting this
imposter syndrome is huge.
Imposter syndrome, getting your low self-esteem out of the way, getting disbelief that anyone would care about. Oh, my baby, he's coming to me.
Hey, Romeo. The true star.
I know. I hate to put the sweater on you, but you jump up too much. So that's part of reaching people, and then from there we can kind of build a customized plan for whatever idea that they want to do. But the first step is always just helping people to see themselves and accept themselves. You can't move forward until you can honestly accept who you are.
And that is the ultimate truth there, yeah.
Right? And so
because so much of art is like working through your issues or whatever issue the concept brings to you.
Yeah.
You have to be authentic and get through that for it to present itself.
Yeah, and and I went through that process with my own work where at some point I was just constantly doing things and showing and performing. And for a lack of a better metaphor, it felt like I was just displaying half-formed fetuses.
Yes.
Because the other thing that you can realize as artists is that you can take a break. We feel like we can't take a break because people forget about us. They won't call us for opportunities. And so we're terrified of taking a break because we feel like we'll lose the steam, the opportunity. But from rest comes ideas.
Yes.
And if you're constantly on the go, you're running yourself ragged. And by yourself, your body. And when you get really down to it, without a healthy body, you can't make anything.
No.
Without a healthy body and mind, you just, and by health, I mean, and I'm not going to go with the whole standard idea of health. By health, I mean that you find a place of contentment for yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
We have different abilities. Like I got really sick after one particular project and have ended up with this invisible disability. And so, there's that aspect. Well, that's a challenge for the arts community because I feel that they're not very accepting and open and compassionate when it comes to artists who have disabilities.
For sure. Yeah.
There's a type of ableism that informs
Yes.
the arts that, if you're sick, people, it's not when you take a break, it's when you get sick that people forget about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And which is just like, so like even cathartic hearing, because in 2016, I was going to launch my first project, hit my head, had a concussion, took like a year and a half the week before the record dropped to recover. And I was like, I can't do anything. The record is out. Everyone's going to forget. I don't think I can ever get back in this game. How am I going to get inspiration? And you're just breaking down every single, like, that whole recovery process.
Yeah.
Where was this interview in 2016 for me? Where were you?
Yeah, I mean, like, the aspects of the arts community will be kind of forgetful. Yes, they will do that.
Yeah.
They only see what's in front of them. I've been doing this for a long time, and that's what I observe. But your fans, and
They're there.
I feel like that's sometimes outweighs
Yeah.
the arts industry. The power of people who believe in you and support you.
Yeah, and you're doing it
they
for
don't
connection.
forget.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So you realize when you come back from whatever space of healing that people are just there waiting. They've been waiting for you. They want to hear your voice.
Right.
Yeah. So
For sure. And we can hear your voice on so many musical tracks as Madame Dolores. I was
different reiterations.
Yes. There's a new one that came out last year called Pantry of Salt and Sugar.
Yes.
First of all, micro songs and the concept of micro songs is what I wanted to get into a conversation about, because I read that this was initially supposed to be made up of like 330 like minute and a half tracks. How did the concept of micro songs even come up to you? Like, do you just, I saw a video of you just sitting here on an iPhone, like tapping away on GarageBand. I was just like, I need to do that. Downloaded the app on my phone last night. We'll probably not get to it for a long time. But I was like, she's making micro songs at her table while she's like drinking coffee and
And smoking cigarettes and petting my dog.
cigarettes. Like, it's great. Have you always done little tiny songs or?
No, this is my first time composing.
Okay.
And the beauty of kind of having access to a platform, a DAW, a digital audio works station like a GarageBand or whatever platform people are using, is that you can kind of compose all of the elements. And up to this point, I've worked collaboratively with lots of amazing musicians in Pittsburgh and producers to kind of translate a musical idea in my mind.
Yeah.
How this all started is really just the day after the inauguration. And while I was not surprised, as I said earlier, like half of the country is racist and the other half didn't vote.
Change it this year, please.
Please change it.
Get out the doors. No more racism.
Yeah,
vote the giant orange out.
Yes.
We're done.
Yes.
We're completely done.
And having been a person who's had to deal with different traumas and just constantly in a state of self-healing, right? I wasn't surprised, but I was in a state of shock because I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And I sat at this table and I said, I don't know how I'm going to emotionally survive this, because this is just, I know it's coming.
A lot.
Right? And it did come. Most of the things I thought.
It's here.
It's here and it keeps
Awful.
coming.
Yeah.
It's like getting punched in the face repeatedly. But, and I had bought this new phone. I bit the bullet and I was like, oh, let me get this goddamn iPhone everybody's talking about. And so I got this.
We love the blue bubbles.
Right? And I was like, oh. I saw that there was GarageBand on it and I was like, I'm just going to make a song. I just can't deal with this. And it was a crazy snowstorm and I made my first song. It was 18 seconds. And I was so proud of myself. I was
I'm proud.
wow, 18. Wow, I did this.
You have to go second by second when you're composing or it's a mess.
Yeah,
3 minutes is a short time to listen, but a long time to create.
Yeah, so it's coming back to this idea of being authentic, honest with yourself, and vulnerable. And I thought, I'm just gonna have to be. I can't be anything but as vulnerable. I feel extremely helpless at this point.
Yeah.
And using that as a tool to communicate this feeling of helplessness and different aspects of anxiety or anger or rage or sorrow, this kind of thing, or even joy and love. So they just, every day, you know, I would get a feeling or emotion, I get triggered by something I heard, saw, felt, a memory, and just compose a song to just totally raw. I improvise
They are
everything.
So raw.
I just improvise.
It's so great. Do you improvise lyrically too?
Yeah, I just sing. I just I make the music first, and then I just, whatever emotion of that day, I just sing it from the top of my head. And then I thought, you know, everything is about perfection today and glossy and just
that can create anxiety in and of itself.
Yeah, and
that kind of culture.
Musically, everything is, to me, overproduced.
Yes.
And sounds too much the same. And while people are very technically good,
which is great, because listening from a technical standpoint, I'm just like, oh man, but it's so homogenized.
Yeah, right. And so it's what I'm hearing is a lack of emotion, and also just, you know, basically there's billions of songs at this point, but the things that float to the top aren't really connecting with what we're going through in this world. And I thought, like, you know, I don't care what people think. I'm going to share these. I'm putting them on SoundCloud. I woke up today and I have a sinus infection. I'm still singing. I don't care.
Yes.
My voice is going to sound the way it sounds every morning, whether I have the flu, whether I'm joyful, happy, whatever, whether I've screamed myself hoarse. I just put it out there.
It's so authentic, and you do it, and it is very raw. I was listening to it. I listened to it at work. I listened to it on the commute home. I listened to it in the car. It translates so differently speaker to speaker, and I like that because it feels like you get a different experience every time. And it's also right up my alley. You've been compared to Portishead, Grace Jones. I don't even remember all of them, but those two stick out the most. Yeah. And there's a song on the record called Dick, which is just so abrasive. Mine too. It reinvents Carly Simon's You're So Vain line a little bit. And if you take Carly Simon when she collaborated with Janet Jackson and made Son of a Gun, make it more abrasive, add in politics and like some socio things in there, it's just like the next level of that Carly song. And it's such like a punch.
I grew up loving that song.
Who did it?
Love Carly Simon. And it just always stuck in my mind is when certain things would happen with people, I would just sing that in my head while I'm looking at them, just kind of muttering. And because of how egotistical, maniacal this man is, especially on Twitter, he does think everything's about him. So it just seemed like a perfect kind of chorus.
Yes.
For this orange maniac. I don't know what else to call it. Well, I do. There's lots of things I can call him. I'm trying to
don't do it. We go high. We don't do that.
Ugh. Yeah, and it's this feeling of just rampant snatching pussy, sexism, racist, make fun of disabled people, try to crush gay marriage, just a all around disgusting human being that there is no other thing to call a person like that except a dick.
There it is, smack in the middle of the record.
Right there. And it's so funny, like the producer I was working with, he had offered at this time, like to broker the songs. And we were reaching this point, and he was like, I don't know how you expect me to broker a song like that. And I was like, I just do expect you to broker a song like that.
It out.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
I told you what this project was about. I'm not going to. I can't not sing a song like that. I cannot not look around the world and just. It's kind of like
Pretend
am
there's a
I?
rainbow.
Yeah, like you look around, you go, "Am I the only one kind of just? Can anybody else see that he's a dick, or is it just me?" Kind of thing,
Right? Our world. Hey,
excuse
where
me,
you at? Hi.
what? Yeah, which is so like hilarious. Like the day after I got on the trolley, I guess that my energy's kind of powerful. I don't know. So enraged, and my mind's like, "Don't you fucking talk to me! Don't nobody talk to me!" Nobody would stand next to me, sit next to me, everywhere I went that day.
I would
They
have
just
flopped.
felt it.
I would have been like, me too.
I'd have been like, yeah. I was just like, oh, and it was just like people were parting away from me, and I was like, you say one thing, say one thing, say one thing. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Yeah.
Microsoft coming today.
Right? And so that's how these things are born because,
Yeah.
I can't just be like going off on innocent random people.
Don't do that.
No. So it's also a way
Keep
to
it
kind
targeted.
of translate this
Yeah.
frustration or whatever. And then some of these things are memories. One of the things when we were talking about being sick or whatever, I can't pronounce it now, it has a new name. Chronic fatigue.
Okay.
And had to stop everything. Like you can kind of see if you look at my CV, like around 2007, just things just stopped because I had to. That you learn to, you have to learn to not let things get so emotionally overwhelming because it'll make you sick, basically.
Yes.
I equated to that scene of in Clockwork Orange where they cured him and every time he gets angry he throws up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that feeling.
Yes.
Like I can only get but so angry, pardon me, or so overly stressed before it starts to kind of
Right, like fold in on everything.
So it's also a way of kind of managing that health aspect.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We are talking anger, stress, politics, all of these things. Thank you for being here. This is PGH Art Talk, pghmuseums.org. We are volunteer ran. We're here with Romeo too, Madame Dolores and Romeo. And it's warming my heart so much I can't even talk right now. We're volunteer ran. We interview anyone who is a creative and wants to sit down in this chair, not this particular chair. We won't be back here unless you invite us over. We raid houses, we raid studios. We have a membership and people who watch this. Thank you so much. We could not do this without the creatives and the viewers. And I so much gratitude to be able to sit and speak with all of the wonderful thoughts that comes out. Yes. And so switching gears a little bit, we've talked so much about music. I know that you do a lot with mixed media art as well. I was looking at the CV and saw an exhibition at the Mattress Factory back in the 2000s. You're part of the Not White Collective now. Mm-hmm. What is going on the the art end of things?
The visual things.
Yeah.
I just completed kind of like a multimedia type of visual experience that has installation components to it. Mm-hmm. It's called The Book of White People.
Okay. Which I read about last night and loved.
It's examining the invention of whiteness. We can thank Virginia and the Bacon Rebellion for this creation of whiteness that ended up in the legal system and became this thing that Americans live by, right? Anywhere else in the world, you're French, you're Canadian, but here, if you are unbrown, Euro originating, somehow you're supposed to call yourself white. So this exhibit is a way of examining the legacy of what that is and how it affects Black and brown and allies alike to be in this system that demands a kind of assimilation to white superiority with no real basis of why. The world is full of magnificent, wonderful, intelligent people who are of all shades and religions, you name it. Intelligence has nothing to do with skin. So the exhibit is examining that from a very harsh lens to a very kind of humorous lens.
Yes.
Right. And so.
Some of them even combine the two.
Yes.
I was reading, I don't know where to see this yet, so tell me after this, but I read about there's Nikes in like a faux fireplace and the Colin Kaepernick whole absurd scandals that surround that. And it was combining absurdity and the seriousness of
what's going on. It was just like, I got one of those lanterns that hangs down, and these things are great now. You can have your own fake fireplace or fake lantern. And so I painted it white, and I took popsicle sticks, glued them together, and then cut out the Nike swoosh and inserted it inside the fireplace, so it looks like it's always on fire.
Yes.
Right? And to highlight the absurdity of this man, this football player, this human being who took a knee, that, instead of examining why, we all witness this kind of defensiveness. White people don't want to be called white until you say something against white people. If you say that they're white, you're like, I'm an individual. I'm not white. But then if you say something about white people, what are you saying about white people? Make up your mind. So I highlight the absurdity of this. And being multiracial, I'm just kind of like, once again, like.
Wait, just looking around, like, what is the state of 2020? How is this?
Right? And so.
Are we using critical thinking skills in this time?
Taking a moment to reflect?
I don't think that word exists a lot.
No. And so I created a textbook that people can write in. Because throughout the years,
this is in the same kind of exhibition.
And it's the more active piece where people can write in it. And because throughout the years, some racist thing would happen, I'd be like, "Girl, that's chapter 23 in the book of white people," because the shit is repetitive. Mm-hmm. And the hilarious, absurd thing is, throughout my life, each white person thinks that they're doing something new, and you're like, "But I've experienced this all throughout my life. That's not new. It might be coming out of your mouth, but are you guys all sharing this textbook, like how to be white?" And so you secretly read it and then say these things. And
I don't want to see the textbook. Right? Unless it's in your exhibition, then I'm going to read it page by page because I know who's writing in it.
Yeah, right. So, it says when they, and I ask everyone to write, for example, when they touch your hair without asking you. Like, how is it that I'm standing in line to see this wonderful dance performance and I'm feeling something? And this woman's touching my hair. And then she's upset when I'm going like, get off of me. Right? How do you get upset when you're touching me? Yes. That's creepy. Let's just get right down. It's creepy and nasty.
Period.
Get off of me.
It's your
Besides
body.
the race stuff, just, ooh, who does
the layers
that?
of it.
Right? And then there's also just what allies, right? I found some, people wrote some great things such as telling me racist jokes, thinking that just because I look like you, I'm going to find it funny. So the book is getting populated by the community. And so when it gets filled up, I'm going to publish it. And so it'll just have everybody's, I'm just providing the space for Americans of all walks of life to talk about this experience with the white people. We all know what it is, right? And so, when they overcharge you, when they deny you access, when they mispronounce your name repeatedly on purpose, these things that we have witnessed or experienced.
Yes. And this, we were talking earlier about how it just feels like people aren't going there. And you are going there. And I just love it so much. Is this up right now somewhere, or is it gonna be up?
It's up. It debuted at Boom Concepts.
Okay.
Daryl and Quinique and Thomas invited me to do a show, and I hadn't done an exhibit in a long time, just all of my work. And I thought, wow, thank you. They call me the godmother of fairy art godmother. That's my nickname with them. And I was like, wow, okay. So I'm going to do this new work. And I've been thinking about this project for 10 years.
Okay.
And you have to get it right or don't do it. So that's another thing with art making. And what I was talking about earlier, take your time and really look at it. It's not a self-editing process. It's like, am I really communicating the idea? Am I going for shock? Am I going for awe? Am I trying to be clever? Or am I shying from the truth or the idea? Can I really just, what's the best way that I can communicate this that I think will reach people? Mm-hmm. So that took about 10 years of just kind of thinking over these different ideas. And membership with the Not White Collective was definitely very instrumental in helping me kind of get to what it should look like. Mm-hmm. Because we talk about imperialism, colonialism, which leads to this white supremacy that infuses everything in American life. Mm-hmm. And then how it is a burden for everybody. If this is a free country, then why are we not free to walk away from this concept?
Yes.
Also, the concept that every white person has signed up for this. There needs to be a bigger humanity. Like I've gone to different kind of equity workshops or conferences, and I feel like the missing thing for me has been talking about humanity. It's great. We can talk about our culture, how we're different. It's obvious, and that's great. Mm-hmm. But what is important to me is like, we don't seem to be talking about how to be human.
Yes.
Or humane. It's not that we get a textbook for that either. How are we supposed to achieve this humanity that is honest? Because you can't act like certain things didn't happen. No. Compassionate. I mean, I believe in calling out, but you have to call in, and so it's kind of like why I don't want to be on Facebook, and I'm contemplating just getting rid of social media. All I see is calling out.
Every day.
And
I have to use it because it's creative types. You see the events that way, yes. You network that way, but it's like, do I really have to go through this timeline? Like, is it helping me? Technology's helping when I'm sitting down with the iPhone and GarageBand, but is it technology helping me on social media right now? It's just making me angry.
Yeah, I'm angry, or just I'm seeing the worst of some of the best people.
Oh yeah, which is shock.
Yeah, and I wonder what it's supposed to be achieving.
Right.
I'm a child of the 70s. I read 1984 and Fahrenheit 451, and you look at today and you go like, this. We're kind of living in that space. Yes. It doesn't look exactly like the book. So maybe that's why people think it's not happening.
There's enough concepts there, though.
But
like
it's
critical
happening
thinking
around us.
Yes, it is there.
And I just have to keep my heart on humanity.
Yes.
I've had many people just laugh at it. Like, oh, you and your humanity thing. I'm just like, yeah, me and my humanity thing.
Right.
Like, because people equate with talk of humanity as if you're trying to whitewash or just make everybody homogenous. That's not what it's talking about.
Differences. And that's what I like about the Not White Collective the more I read. There's another guest who I won't spoil for you, but I'll tell you when the camera's off who's coming on very soon from the collective. And I didn't know about it until I started reading about what you and her were part of. And I like that it was focused on like multicultural like things, but was also like, this is humanity. It's the whole of humanity. And we're looking at ways to explore the like whiteness as it stands when you talk about that word and how it's like there.
Yeah, and it's a conversation that is constantly evolving through vulnerability.
Yeah.
in acceptance. I mean, you look at privilege and your own privilege, and you look at it just talking about privilege. How to discern what is privilege, what is a gift, and what you earned, right? I think too many times the words are being used to describe all things, and I think we have to be much more clear about what it is. And once you can discern what is what, how do you use your privilege to for a greater humanity, right? Everybody has some level of privilege, whether it's you are able to attend college as the first person in your family, have a roof over your head, and everybody has that, have a job. So for me, privilege isn't, we discuss these things, so privilege isn't quite the word that I think describes what happens with non-white people. It's lack of access.
Yeah.
Right. And the kind of like I look at it like there's a pond and it's full of fish. Sure, you're free to fish there. But every tool is broken, rotten, doesn't work. And then when you finally drive or walk to the space, because your car doesn't work either, it's locked up. And so that, I think
fish?
of, when I think of how hard it is for those of us to push through this kind of white dominance that prevents lots of people who do not fall within the status quo from achieving what they define as their success. It looks like that. It's like you can see it over there, but you can't get there.
Yes.
And if you can get there, you're not really allowed in. So it's just, it's not so much about privilege. It's more about access to education, health. I mean, we're all looking at different communities, Black, white, Latin. I mean, the air is bad. They dump the chemicals in their backyard. What is the access to clean water and clean air and things like that? We'll get back to humanity. Every human being should have access to things that helps them live the life that they want to live. Yes. And when you prevent them from doing that, that's a problem. That's a problem we're fighting against. We are trying to inspire people to have similar conversations.
Yeah.
Look at you and go like, where are you from? Do you know your people? I look at white people and go like, why do you call yourself white? Who are your ancestors? Mm-hmm. Why do you not honor your ancestors? Don't you know their stories? Why do you not tell their stories? Why do you act like you're not Hungarian, Serbian, Italian? Why? I don't know why you do that. There's so much rich culture in that.
Yes.
Why you won't talk to your baba? You talk to your baba and find your own stories and I'm looking at people feeling so lost. You're lost because you're disconnected. You're not connected to your own family. You don't even have to be connected to your immediate family. You're connected to a rich history of ancestors that goes way, way, way back. I just, it's another thing we kind of want to share and inspire in people. No, just know yourself. Know who you are. You're not this thing. Nobody's this.
No. Yeah.
Nobody's like a color out of a crayon box.
Everyone's come from somewhere. And before the first take, while the camera was being crazy, we were even talking, even just going back an era to your parents and how growing up, they were both creative types. Your dad did board games, you said, and a bunch of stuff. He created board
games. They were actually, we had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think just knowing yourself, knowing where you came from, and as you said, yes, such cultures everywhere, and I love all of these challenges that you throw out, and you've been doing it for so long. I even looked back. Sun Crumbs, was that what it was called?
Oh, and, you looked way back.
I looked way back. I dig for these interviews,
wow.
And the only thing I could really find. 2008. Yes.
Most people don't even remember. Only the people who were participating in
I
it.
mean, I don't know it. I was 18, so showing my age there when it went defunct. But the only thing I found was it was a Post-Gazette article, and it was like so controversial, but also help local artists, but was like protested at the things that they did. And I was like, you really are just like pushing where we need to push. And I appreciate that so much. You like have not wavered, and you've taken it, and what you do now as an artist relations manager, just
Push.
you are so vital.
I don't
to
like
this
doors.
scene. No,
Unless
knock
they're
them
in my
down.
house and I want some privacy, but I don't like.
We raid the houses when we come here.
I push also because when I was 18, in the 80s. Hello.
Sorry.
I love my age. There wasn't much help. There wasn't, as far as to be an artist. And then there's just my connection with my elders and watching them push. I cannot not push. It's like they pushed this thing and they had to step away because they needed to do their other chapter. You get older and there's another chapter you have to go to,
then
and you step
you
in
have
and
to
you have to
continue
keep
that.
pushing. And at some point, I'm going to step aside because I have another chapter, and I hope the next kind of group of people, because we have to break on over these spaces. It may be elusive, and maybe it not doesn't really exist, but freedom, it just stays on my mind. Yes. What is freedom? How does each person define it? How are you going to reach it? So whatever I can do to just help people get out of their own way to get their own kind of freedom, that's what I'm going to do. So yes, I have been pushing the boundaries and having the police called on the exhibitions and my band constantly threatened with lawsuits.
Post-Gazette didn't get into all that. And I think that's
Yes.
a conversation for another art talk. We're going to have a part 2.
Censored,
Oh my God.
blacklisted, all that stuff.
For being authentic.
For being just like, hey, let's, I feel like equity and justice and liberation is like the coolest party we have yet to have. Come on, let's do this.
Yes.
Right? And so, Son of Crumbs was definitely, we did things like the Bust a Myth series where we broke down stereotypes. The one that really was super, there were 2 things. We did No Dogs, No Blacks, No Irish, because that always fascinated me, this sign, and the Irish were underneath blacks. Ooh. So we investigated
Explore
that.
that.
And looking at the coffin ships in relation to slave ships. Miscegenation. So we were talking through the University of Pitt. We held like a week-long kind of symposium about what it is to be Asian or mixed Asian in Pittsburgh and maintain your culture and your language. Things that I think people are doing. I drink too much coffee and it just makes
No
me burp.
such thing. It's
Excuse me. That people weren't talking about. They're just now starting to talk about it. I had a show called it was called The Locker. Beauty of the Male Nude. Mm-hmm. And there are just penises everywhere. I mean, what can I say? I thought, as a woman artist, I get sick of naked women in museums. I'm just sick of it.
It's still striking to me about how you can, like, a naked man, even in something like Hollywood film, is like still taboo in a way.
Still taboo,
and, like,
right?
Women naked, fine.
I find, first off, the naked body beautiful. And I just thought the beauty of the male nude is just something that needs to be celebrated. So there, it was a group show, and I had a penis purse, and I had a watercolor triptych of a man masturbating, and I had a giant sponge man with a giant sponge penis, and I had a nude male model on hand at the reception. We had clam dip shaped as a penis. We had a photo booth called, we had like kind of those, what do you call them? Oh my God, the automatic cameras that you can shake it. Polaroid, thank you.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, I was like, what? Oh my God. Photograph your junk. So men would go into the bathroom and then hang it on the wall, and then no one, we just had this wall of, and I wanted like let's stop talking about it as if it's ugly. There are too many humans in this world to really believe that's true. Because I mean, like,
Yes.
I don't know. And the police were called, and corruption of a minor. I put fake snow on all the windows. So the woman with this 4-year-old boy obviously had to lift the boy, because I had the snow beyond, like, as tall. I'm like 5'3", so as tall as I could like spray. So there's no way in hell, right? So she called the police, and the curator was very, I co-curated, and he was just really shaken.
As you would be.
But I had it happen so many times. I was just like,
All right, again.
Okay, so what? Did she lift him? Because what? He's 4, as you can see. And they walk through, and we're just snickering everywhere. And they're like, we can see that there's no way that her son saw this. So we're just gonna, but, a male and a female cop, and they're just looking around going,
Glad we got invited to this art show.
yeah, right. So
Thanks
that
for
was
calling
like,
and inviting us.
yeah, really pushing concepts
Oh, man.
that I have problems with.
I just say you actually, in a way, just created Snapchat ahead of its time.
You did.
What do you mean?
Snapchats for dick pics.
Oh my God, I didn't think of that.
You created Grindr, you created Snapchat, maybe Tinder, but I hear it's a little tamer down that end. I don't know. Ahead of your time. Thank you.
God.
Bring that one back and
my
see how that goes over.
I know, right? And this is all spurred from the fact that my sister and I went to a horrible high school. And when we moved to the east end of town, we ended up in this apartment. And the apartment was filled with like a mountain of playgirls. And I stole 7 of them. And I had naked men all in my locker. It was the only thing that would calm me.
Same some days.
And my sister and I would get so fed up. And there was one day where she was on one end of the hall, and I was like, and we were like, time to go to the locker. And we were just opening everything.
Breathe.
Aren't they beautiful? Okay, let's go back to this bullshit. Yeah, so that's how that show was created. Yeah, weirdos.
Not at all. Oh my God, these concepts and how you grab them and create. And just to end this out, because you pushed and you've helped so much, and you've been a part of the art scene and been so vital for so long. In the future, or even like a month down the road, a couple years down the road, for yourself, for the art scene here and as a whole, what do you hope to see? If you can even think of a sliver.
For the art scene?
For yourself as an artist, and then as an art scene.
Oh, for myself.
Yeah.
I have plans.
Tell us.
Well,
who cares about the art scene? Tell us.
Is going to be renovated to be kind of Airbnb, maybe on like a short-term rental.
Okay.
And that will help me pay for the programming for the renovation of the garage, which I hope to turn into an artist residency. And so I need to, these things, kind of like I bought this house, right? And so the garage needs to be repaired because 2 trees fell on it. So,
Welcome to Pennsylvania.
but that's the dream, like to have, to bring artists into Pittsburgh. But more specifically, this will be for arts administrators who are artists who never get a chance to go to a residency. So to provide that kind of space, renovate it so that it's green, environmentally sound, and so that any artist can use it. So there will be probably like a dance floor in there and mirrors and place to make music, that kind of thing, and kind of connect with the community, because at some point the park's going to go through a renovation, and I've been talking to the Pittsburgh Park Conservancy to kind of figure out how I'd want to connect an artist with this community and the park. So that's kind of the dream. And then to continue making my work, because I'm feeling healthier, so I have a little bit more energy to do that. Tour some shows. I really want like a song on a horror movie. That's my dream.
I would live for it. It's
right?
like,
don't you like want one of your songs and some?
My stuff's a little dreamy, so I don't know where they would put it. But your stuff,
a Euro,
like,
man, you should go for a Euro cop show.
Hello, Euro cop shows,
Euro
horror
cop
movies.
shows.
We're here, ready to broker and like get the music out there. Licensing, yes,
and licensing.
I hope you do a show soon. I'm going to Boom Concepts to see that exhibition. I would love to see you perform. I know you have a YouTube with some things up there. You've been so vital.
Clitorati will be performing soon.
Yes,
Clitorati.
Explain that before we go out here.
Two of my best friends, Henya and Fat Man D, and all of them are amazing best friends. But the three of us create kind of this punk rock, funk, postmenopausal, feminist, fuck you kind of songs, and we call ourselves Clitorati. Yeah.
I need to time travel and get to these shows right now. Like, I just want to see the future of what you were doing. I love this so much.
Yeah, Mandy came up with a song like Fupa, Fupa.
Oh,
I don't know, some sort of fatty part before the vagina. I don't know.
It's Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, so I'm like, we'll see. But the exhibit right now is in Boston. It's outside of Boston.
I'll travel.
Yeah, so it's like at private high school.
Okay.
Yeah, and they actually extended it. It was supposed to be down in November. So they folded it into their social justice curriculum.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
For the arts community, I would like to see... I'm going to close out on this one because I know you want to wrap up.
Oh, no. I could listen. We could talk all day.
And I've written him several times.
I'm ready. Hold on. Let me drink the tea. It's coffee. I need coffee.
Mayor Perduto, I've written you several times to create this because we all know the marijuana industry is growing, and I have requested that some aspect of that tax go to the arts into a fund in perpetuity so that no one really has to suffer. And so that money can be distributed to multiple organizations and foundations to distribute to other artists. Is anybody hearing me?
My ears are working.
Because I really do want to go like, I just funded the ballet. Oh, Boom Concepts, here comes another grant.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Yeah, so please, somebody make it happen.
Dudo, make it happen. Or we'll get someone else to make it happen.
Is it a
for
state
us.
thing? Come on, Wolf.
Oh, man. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
everything that you do, Madam
you.
Dolores.
I'm excited. You guys are providing a much needed service. So, hey, artists out there, contact them if you'd like to be interviewed.
I love to
about your
talk.
process.
I don't want to stop talking to her. I never want to stop talking in these things.
We could just stay
Oh
here,
my
but
God.
house will
It's
fall
done.
apart around
Ryan,
us.
sit down, put it on live stream, Snapchat it. We'll take some dick pics to get the people invited. This has been our talk with PGH Museums. Bye.
Bye.
Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Thank you for listening to Art Talk from pghmuseums.org. Your host today was RJ Kozane, and the program was edited by me, Brian Crawford. Today's music was Wallpaper by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at filmmusic.io. It is licensed through the Creative Commons. Be sure to search PGH Art Talk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are found. PGH Museums is made possible through our members and affiliate museums, such as the Punxsutawney Weather Discovery Center. Become a tornado, make a thunderstorm, be a TV weather forecaster. You can do all of this and more at the interactive Punxsutawney Weather Discovery Center, located in the home of Punxsutawney Phil. Learn more at weatherdiscovery.org. We'll catch you in 2 weeks, right here on Art Talk from pghmuseums.org.